No, we're good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, nice. Yes. So Tina's the one that's going to be doing the filming.
Except for I.
So before we start filming, I just want. Excuse me. Before we start filming, I would just like people's permission to film. Basically, we're going to be filming me, and then if people, I'm going to actually be working with some of you as a demonstration, and you have a choice whether you want to be filmed or not at that point. I would love it if you're filmed, because do you ever have a sit down with a client and you have a really good session and say, I wish that was on film? I'm basically going to be using this for teaching purposes, but you may end up on my presentation sometimes. So if you say, it's okay for me to film you, or if we have a demo and you're filmed and you don't want to be filmed, I'll just take that off. So, you have to trust me that I'm not going to use anything you don't want me to use. So all the filming is going to be just of me speaking. I'm starting to teach other people how to teach this so that it doesn't just die with me when I leave the plant. And so I'm going to be using that for teaching purposes mostly. And it will be just the small groups. But as I said, some of it may end up on the presentations. So there are, in the back of your, if you look in the back, so this first agreement just basically says you don't hold me responsible for any general processing that you do, and you will not be sharing it, teaching it to people. Because it seems like it's pretty straightforward and simple, but people teach it and then it gets watered down the more people pass it on. So I'm just trying to get people not to do that. The next thing is, and I have to have everybody's permission to at least videotape me. And as I said, if you decide not to be videotaped or get videotaped and you don't want to share whatever comes out, because you will definitely be on the videotape. Because we're going to be videotaping your face because it makes a big difference what you look like when you're going through jungle. And that will make more sense to you after we do that. But you can opt out. So, but if you don't sign, if everybody doesn't sign this one, I can't videotape it at all. And we have a videologist. Is that what they call it?
Videographer.
Oh, the videographer here today.
Yes.
And so I'm very excited about having that done so that I can use it and pass it on. So please sign it.
But I think if you don't want, I think if you can sign it, but then if you want to put a note at the bottom that says, please don't use my face on it, that would be, I think.
Yeah, your face will not be included unless you're working with me directly. And again, you can opt out on that. Even if we videotape it and you go, oh, I really don't want that information. The nice thing with Gentle, you don't have to give very much information. I had trouble with my mom, and when I was 3, that could be as much information as you need to give. So you're not actually sharing personal information too much. And it's one of the things I like in working with clients with Gentle is they don't have to tell the story again. So many people have come in have been through over and over again. They've been through therapy with different people, and every time they have to tell the story again. You don't need to get a big story from people. So anyway, so please. So I've included 3 of these sheets. So you're going to be practicing with each other. So I'd like you to be thinking about things you'd like to work on a rating of 1 to 10, about a 4. Now, being a therapist, I know you're going to pick a 6 or a 7, but please try to keep it down because you just don't know where that 4 is going to go. And it's just practice. It's not supposed to be therapy. But anyway, there are 3 of these sheets that I'll teach you how to use. And I find that this is how I take notes, and I find it's really helpful because you can go through your notes really quickly and say, oh yeah, I worked on mom and dad, and now I have to work on the brother. It's a quick way rather than going through all your notes. And if you take really short notes, it doesn't really matter. But this gives you kind of a diary of what you worked on as far as things is concerned. So there's 3 of those because we're going to, hopefully twice today and once tomorrow, you're going to use that. If you want CEUs, you have to fill this one out. This is just saying how to quality sources and evaluation. I need to keep these for 3 years, so if you get audited, not to me, and I can show that yes, we went through that. So that one's important. We have another class coming up in May, up in Maine, New Hampshire, Burlington.
Barrington.
Barrington. Sorry, Barrington. And so that's just, if you like what we do here and you want to pass it on to your friends, that's great. Because what we're trying to do is get as many people trained in this as possible. I've been doing this for 20 years. This is not new stuff. But it's really hard to get the word out. And so I'm kind of counting on people to do that. And sorry, I'm getting saliva all over the paper.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And that's it.
Hello, how are you?
The front of your book. In the front of your book, you have this rap card, which I really introduced to what a rap card is. This is about my website, about us in general. If you have clients, if you want to know more about what you're doing, there's a lot of information in it. I know a lot of the websites today, there's a lot of written information. So it doesn't just go and say, oh, you know, we do this and it gives you this much. It goes on. So if they can go to this thing. You probably all know what that is. I still haven't figured it out. QR code. And it'll bring me directly to my website. So I have extra of these if you feel like your clients would like to know about this. On the other side, I just published a book called Goodbye Trauma. I highly recommend you all have it because it gives you more information than you're going to learn today. And it's really kind of an easy read. I've also been recommending it to my clients because when they understand that trauma is normal and everybody has trauma, they begin not to feel like a freak. And they're more comfortable working on trauma. A lot of people don't want to work on trauma because they're afraid that it's going to force something to happen. So the reason that I do gentle with them is what I try to do is break trauma work down into such small pieces, they hardly even know they're working on the trauma. And if they have a now reaction, which means they overreact to whatever you're working on, you can always take that and break it down even further. So that we're going to be talking a little bit about that today. Now we've got 2 days to do this. It's a lot of information. But I really would like you to get as much as possible. I'm trying to figure out how I can get people using this for their clients in a way that is the most helpful for them. I know some of you here have already taken my class, and you're coming in and getting it again. And what people that I will offer half price because I think it's so helpful to come back and get a redo. Because what people have told me is when they get a chance to get there, to come back and do it again, they get more out of it. Because you can't get it all at once. It's a lot of information. If you've never thought this way before, it's really new. I've had people take this class like 4 times, and every time they take it, they say, oh, I didn't know you did that. So I think it's really useful. But the book will give you a pretty good idea of the different levels and how to work with them in a very succinct way. Because I use a client that's a combination of multiple clients to show you how the process works. And even though it's only a combination of several clients, it's exactly how the process works. So I've had clients read the book and go, oh, I feel like I'm sitting in session with you, because it feels really comfortable. I feel like trauma at this point is so scary for people. It's sort of like, and some of you are too young to remember this, but when cancer first came out like 20, 30 years ago, nobody talked about it. They didn't even say cancer, they said the C word. And if somebody said, I have cancer, everybody ran in the other direction like they wouldn't catch it. And everybody knew they wouldn't catch it, but they didn't know what to say because they thought it was like a death sentence. So everybody, cancer became this thing that nobody talked about. So if you had cancer, it was even worse because people were not, you weren't able to talk to anybody about it. And even your doctors were kind of like, no, we can't really talk about that. So I think trauma is kind of like that now, the T word instead of the C word. And I'd love to, my goal is in life is to get people talking about trauma the way people can talk about cancer. You know, now if you say I've got cancer, what kind do you have? Who's your doctor? What are you getting for treatment? You know, I mean, it's a whole conversation. But if you say, I've got trauma in my life and this is, I'm being triggered now, it's like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. So you really need to, I feel that this gives clinicians a way of dealing with trauma that is not scary. And the book gives both clinicians and clients a way of looking at trauma that's not scary. It doesn't have to be scary. And you're going to find in the next 2 days how gentle can actually alleviate trauma, totally. It's gone. Your brain gets rewired and your clients are no longer holding that trauma. And you're going to experience it yourself. Because if you don't experience it yourself, you're not going to believe this is real. And even still, people go to me, yeah, that doesn't seem real.
I remember when I first came, I was so skeptical. I actually had friends that asked me to come to the training, and I was like, this sounds like such
BS. Oh, shit.
And so I came, and I remember we were actually doing external, which is the one you can find on the website. It's the one where you do with kids or like people who are so severely traumatized that they can't even do the traditional. You do the external. And I remember thinking, this is such crap. And I was so shocked when it worked. I remember thinking, I can't believe this. So I just remember, and even still when I'm sharing it with new clients, it's so funny because I'm like, I want you to know you're going to think this is a bunch of malarkey and you're not going to believe me and it sounds like it's voodoo, but just hang in there. And it's really amazing, even to this day.
So this is Tia.
Sorry. Hi.
No. Tia is one of the people I'm teaching how to do this. And Darlene is also here and she's learning how to teach it. So if you have questions and I'm busy, either you can ask either of them. It's good practice for
We're like train the trainers.
Train the trainers.
Yeah.
And how many times have you taken this class now?
Oh my gosh, 5 or 6 now?
And
I started in, I mean, how many years ago? I think it's been over 10 now, close to 10.
And do you get something out of it every time you take it?
Oh yeah, and that's the thing that blows my mind is like, I wouldn't have thought that, to be honest with you. Like I've taken it so many times and I wouldn't have thought, and I'm not just saying that to like stack with that, you know, I really do.
I'm paying her?
No, I'm not getting paid. So yeah, it's actually really nice, and it's nice to be able to say, you know, I never thought about it like this, or like I'll be going around and like coming up to your groups, and I'll be sitting with you guys and working through something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it that way. That's really amazing too. Like that is a really cool moment. But I love that.
So I've designed Gentle to be flexible. So I've taught this to a lot of people, and I was teaching internal, external, which you can find on my website. It's now a free course. You can take it for nothing, and it's about an hour and a half. And that's the one that Tia was talking about. And it's really interesting to me because I had this class, and there were 2 people that were just there to get the CDs. That's all. And they were really annoyed that I wanted them to actually do some work. I mean, they were really annoyed. So I was on their case, you've got to do this work, and I watched them blow it. I mean, they just didn't do it right at all. And both of them were, it worked. So what I find is, even if you think you're doing it wrong, there's no wrong way to do this. And I tell that to the clients too. There's no wrong way of doing this. They'll get something from it no matter what they do, as long as they're giving it their best shot. And these 2 people were not even giving it their best shot. I mean, they were really trying to be obnoxious. I didn't want to give them certificates. But, you know, they were just there for the CDs. And I only teach this to people who really want to learn it, because it's a lot of work for me to teach it. Tia and Darlene are starting to get how much work it is involved to put this class together. And I have never really made any money teaching general processing, because it all goes back into the doing it again and again. And that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I'm so excited that there is something out there. So let me tell you my story. When I was a baby therapist, I just got out of school, I was kind of like, wow, you know, we just sit and talk to people and nothing happens. You know, I was even aware back then that it wasn't really moving very fast. And some people were getting a little better, but it was like, there must be something out there that can help people move forward. So I started looking, and I started taking all the classes I could find. And I thought, you know, it's already out there, I just have to find it. But I realized it wasn't out there. It wasn't, I couldn't just walk into that practice and go, oh, you know, if I do EMDR, this is a solution. If I do cognitive therapy, this is a solution. All of them had like a problem with them. You know, they forgot to take this into account or that into account. So what I ended up doing was putting all the things I learned together, and I came up with Gentle. And I have to thank EMDR, because they taught me about trauma. It never occurred to me trauma was a problem, because you never learn that in school. You don't mention it, the T word, you know. So I found that with EMDR, I learned about trauma, but I also learned that the way they were using their process to help trauma was re-traumatizing people, and I was not happy with that at all. So that's why I started to develop general processing. And out of EMDR, there were several different people that came up with different things that actually work pretty well. I'm not saying they don't, but when I went to Francine Shapiro, which was the person who developed EMDR, and said, hey, you know, this is what I'm doing, it's really exciting, and this fixes all the problems with EMDR. She said, do research. That was it. You know, no, she didn't even look at it. She wasn't interested. So she could have fixed it back then, but she didn't. And this is Darlene.
Hi.
She's the other one that's trained.
How are you?
So I told them they could ask you questions.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry, I was in between. That's good.
That's okay. She also is set up where we are today, so she knows this area. If you have any questions about Vista or
Yeah.
we're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So we had to do some jumping around to get my PowerPoint working.
Right.
But any questions so far?
I guess like maybe this is a question for later, but I just did the EMDR training about a year ago, literally this weekend. What's the difference between, because it looks similar and I'm just like, ooh, this is going to be really confusing for me. It's, yeah.
Do you want to try that one?
I can. Okay. So there's a lot of similarities about how it treats trauma in the brain. That is extremely, like, it's the same. So EMDR, the way they think about it, in my opinion, is that EMDR requires you to go back into this specific trauma, whereas gentle reprocessing actually walks you around the trauma. So it doesn't want you to go back into the trauma. It actually wants you to just kind of gently touch the feelings. And it actually takes you, it actually sets up a lot of safeguards. So I know that, with EMDR, you set up a safe space and everything like that. You do the same thing with gentle reprocessing. But all you're doing with gentle reprocessing is you're setting up, you're talking about emotion, you're just talking about the emotion. When you think about the trauma, what emotion comes up for you? And if that emotion starts getting too intense, you pull back. Whereas with EMDR, you're trying to get the intensity and you're trying to push. With gentle reprocessing, there's this window of tolerance that we're trying to keep people in. You don't want to go too high and you don't want to go too low. With EMDR, you're wanting the intensity because you're trying to get rid of it. And so we're actually pushing people into the intensity. And so that's the biggest difference that I see is that we're trying, in gentle, we want to keep people in the window of tolerance so they stay in charge and they stay powerful. With EMDR, what I was noticing is that people were really leaving sessions feeling awful and going home. Like what was happening is that we were telling, you have to actually tell family members, like, warning, they're going to come home a mess. They might be triggered. They might be this. With this, I don't have to tell families at all, like, to be warned. What I actually tell clients is to say, like, you're probably going to feel like you had a really, really intense workout, and you're probably going to feel really good. So that appreciate is that no, it's a fantastic question. Thank you. Is that a good?
That's excellent. And so I'm going to repeat this because I don't think it's too many times to say it. Basically, trauma is made up of four things. One is the event that happens. 2 and 3, I call twins because it's the emotion you have and where that is in your body. It's always together. And all this is in your manual, so you don't need to really take notes. And 4 is the negative belief system that you start to build up about yourself. And we're going to go into more detail on this, so I'm not going to go into detail right this second. But with EMDR, they want all of those things to be there together, which is overwhelming for most clients. And I ended up, I'm trained in EMDR, but I ended up with people in a fetal position in the corner of the room, or backing up away from me, yelling, don't hurt me, because they basically dissociated and thought I was the person, I was the perpetrator. And I thought, even though I got people out of that and they were in a good space at the end, I don't want to do that to my clients in my office. I want it to go be much more gentle, thus gentle processing. So that's basically, does that answer your question?
Yeah. It's a great question.
Yeah, it is a great question.
And it's not that EMDR is really useful. I mean, I think that EMDR, there's a space for EMDR, absolutely. And I think we all have biases, right, too? You know, we all fall in love with, you know.
But the trouble also with EMDR is it's very complicated. It's a lot of time. I can
That's what I find, like reading, trying to read from the script and like then go back and then go back again. It's just, confusing.
And when I learned EMDR, which was from it wasn't as complicated, but they hadn't found all the holes in it yet. So now they teach it, and you need to have supervision afterwards. And when you're done with this, you won't need supervision. I mean, it's supervision is available to you, but you really won't need it. I offer an hour of supervision after this if you have questions, and for free. And very few people even take it up on it. So I think that says something about this process being easier. And I wanted it to be simple. So in 2 days, you should be able to go off on a Monday and start doing this with your clients.
And that's what blew my mind. That's what blew my mind. Is with EMDR, it was like months and months and months and months. And so when I was like, how is it that you're gonna be able to do this afterwards? And I would like jumped right in, and people were laughing at the end of the session after they were crying at the beginning. I was like, this makes no sense.
It's crazy. And that's part of the reason I've had trouble selling it.
Is that people don't believe it.
Yeah.
It's too good to be true.
Exactly, exactly.
Sorry.
So I just, and also, EMDR is expensive now. Even back when I took it, it was more expensive than most things. But it's expensive because you have to keep coming back and you have to have supervision for so many hours, and it's, that, all of those things I find, you know, I love the fact that EMDR, I mean, Francine Chicaro really helped take psychotherapy to a new level with the idea that trauma might have something to do with people having trouble. Personally, I think if you take care of people's traumas, a lot of the other things go away. You know, a lot of the DSM diagnoses go away. The anxiety, the panic attacks, the depression, even OCD you can put in the background. The things that are people are born with, you know, like bipolar and things like that, it helps a little bit because a lot of the bipolar folks have had a lot of trauma because they're bipolar and people react so badly to them after a while. So you can clear that. And I've had people go down on their medications for bipolar, but it doesn't actually take care of the bipolar itself, but they can manage it much better. So, all right, so I'm going to show you I've been working on this.
Diane, excuse me, sorry, there's one person that came in late, so can I just check on the lunches?
Pardon?
The lunches, somebody came in late. Is there that person want to order?
Kathy, you
Oh,
going to get,
good.
and
I'm
you got
sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Want me to talk to her out here? Okay, did you go on the holycannoli.com website?
Check with Darlene.
Okay, do you want to talk to me out here for a minute or here?
Put me down for anything.
Or can we wait until our break?
I have to call it in by 10 o'clock.
Okay, I haven't given you mine either.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
if,
If you can, so do you have it on your phone, Kathy?
I can pull it up for you.
What's the choice? I can tell it to you in 2 seconds.
Okay, sure, I'll call it up. Diane, do you know?
I have it right here.
Okay.
You want to scroll down?
Excuse me while
Yeah.
I know, it's just kind of important.
Yeah.
Just, people want lunch, so.
Right.
Is everybody else all set?